to me, the more you pay. As I look at this, you you can't surround them with good talent when you pay a quarterback too much. You just can't put the money. The money run out. There is a cap in the NFL, unlike the NBA.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with me today is my tag team partner in honor of WrestleMania, the Angelo Dawkins to my Montez Ford and the Street Profits, because they won the fatal four-way tag match against the same four tag teams that they've been going against, so whatever. The icon, the showstopper, the main event, and the reason why we are here, Coach Mike Francis. And Coach, how you doing today as I try to figure all of this stuff out on this Top Shelf Tuesday edition? There we go.
I'm doing well. How you doing?
Man, I'm old and shouldn't be hanging out this late, but that's okay. We had folks over at the house, as you know, and it is a good time had by all. Our number one fan, JJ, was over here, and Will Cotton and Kill. We did make fun of him about the Denver Broncos, but I digress, man. So on today's show, we're going to talk about quarterback financial value, and we're going to have numbers in front of us. We're going to talk about, should the NFL guarantee quarterback contracts, and is my partner impressed with some recent NFL moves? I'm curious about that, but that'll be segment 3. But segment 1, Mike, you and I disagree on the quarterback position, and we have some from the first show, because I think the quarterback position is overvalued, overrated, and you're a football guy who knows what he's talking about, and I'm just Joe the fan, as the late, great John Thompson would say. So, Mike, the top 5 quarterbacks this year by salary: Matthew Stafford, $61.5 million. I'll let that sit.
I ain't mad at his agent.
Number 2, Russell Wilson at $57 million.
Nah, I got a problem with that.
Josh Allen, $47 million.
That's a good deal for Buffalo.
Deshaun Watson, $45.3 million.
I'll leave that one alone. No more lost episodes.
And Aaron Rodgers at $41.9 million. So that's an annual average cap hit of $50 million, and only one of those teams made the playoffs. Okay? So now, let's talk about the playoff teams, starting with the NFC. My favorite bank robber, Kirk Cousins, $40 million. Dakota Prescott, $20 million. Tom Brady, $15 million. Geno Smith, $8.1 million. Daniel Jones, not the new deal, but what he was playing on last year, $4.1 million. Jalen Hurts, $1.1 million. And Brock Purdy made a robust $934,000. They actually made the playoffs. So that average cap hit was $12.7 million. But I'm going to continue on, Mike. In the AFC, here's who made the playoffs. Josh Allen, $47 million a year. Patrick Mahomes, $31.9. Lamar Jackson at our bargain, $23 million a year. Hey, Lamar, if you make 30-something, that's a pretty good raise. Anyway, Joe Burrow, $3.9 million. Tua Tagovailoa, $3.3 million. And Justin Herbert, he had $3 million, along with Trevor Lawrence, who had $2.3 million. So in the AFC, that's an average cap hit of $16.3 million. So, Mike, there's the number. Cheap Keith. Yeah, that might even be a rapper.
No, it's Chief Keith. Oh, stop, man.
Well, whatever.
Stop. They're going to be rapping a Chief Keith.
I don't know. I keep telling you, why are we paying all this money when I could get something just as good at half as cheap? Tell me, why am I paying all this extra? I don't need it.
I don't know. I think that some owners show that they want to make a commitment to the team by doing that too. You know how that is. And the quarterback is at number 1 position. and they covet that quarterback, and not only that, cities do too, because quarterback is like being a mayor, you know.
Yeah.
In most of your NFL cities, it's like being a mayor, so they want to make sure that they're taken care of compared to everyone else, and it's very vital position. And but there has been some teams that have won Super Bowls without high paying quarterbacks, and like you just stated about making the playoffs without guys making the playoffs with a salary that wasn't exactly the highest of highs. But to me, the more you pay. As I look at this, you you can't surround them with good talent when you pay a quarterback too much. You just can't put the money. The money run out. There is a cap in the NFL, unlike the NBA. There is a cap because you end up paying, like we said 2 weeks ago. You reported that if they go over the cap, you got to pay a tax to other teams. So you actually,
to help beat you.
Yeah. So you actually playing your cap and helping them build their cap, like for saving money. You know what I mean? So to me, like Troy Aikman restructured his contract every year,
so he can get some talent.
so he can keep Michael Irvin, he can keep Emmitt Smith, he can keep Jay Novacek, and then Johnson, like the fullback Johnson, like
Yep.
that kind of thing. You got Larry Allen, you got Nate Newton, Mark Stepnowski. Like that was the offense. Like they had 3-4 Pro Bowlers on the line. You know what I mean? Like
So
that money don't.
So Mike, what's the real recipe for a winning team in the NFL now? Because we can't not think money. We can't. It's a cap.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I am the one who thinks teams are overspending for the quarterback position. And they're overspending and then they can't win anything, as you just mentioned. So with the salary cap, with the demands of everybody wants to get paid. And we're not mad at any of that. But how do you keep teams together? How do you do it in this modern NFL with these crazy demands of everybody?
It's tough. You got to be able to find. First of all, it starts with the players themselves. You got to find guys who are committed to winning, and the guys who are committed to winning will recruit for you and bring in talent and say, "Hey, man, look, this is what we plan on doing. You'll come in, and the agents know other agents, so it takes a lot to make it work. You can do it, but you really, really got to work it because like the Ravens, for instance, you had Ray Lewis and you had Ed Reed. You know what I mean? And Ray Lewis would buy Lodi Nada, them defensive tackles. He's buying them Rolexes and cars. Every time he made the Pro Bowl because he knew if them guys played the A gap strong and that two technique, was Drew double team, that allowed him to run because it kept the guards off of him. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of thing you do. So you really, really got to have leaders. Once you have good leaders in your team, I don't care how much the owner, coach, all that's fine. Players who lead make you successful. And as coaches, we both know that. There's been plenty of times you ain't even had to say a word because your leaders step in.
Yeah.
I mean, think about the time in the huddle. This is the last time using the huddle. How about following, for instance?
No, there comes a point where words do not need to be said. There comes a point. So, Mike, for me, again, being cheap, frugal, as my friends are laughing, I would have a cap for each position of what I'm willing to pay. And I'm not leaving that. And I know I'm going to get what I want. At the end of the day, I'm going to get it. We're in administration. You can do this one of two ways, but you're leaving this classroom. Now, you can do it where we could just step out in the hall and then you come right on back in and we could try to assuage it. Or if you want to escalate it, let's make a few phone calls. Let's get the team together. Let's call counselors, blah, blah. Either way, you're still leaving.
You're getting about you.
So we're going to play these 17 games. We're going to. The fans have already paid their money with the season tickets, so I'm going to get that money. as I could be a bad owner for 20 years and still sell my team for $6
Oh
billion.
my God! Ain't
Okay,
it?
so
I.e.
call me
Washington
names all you
Redskins.
want to.
Yes. I mean, excuse me,
Commanders.
Washington Commanders.
Call me names all you want to, but look at what I just did. I made a profit, and you're mad, and I'm not. What am I mad at?
It's a
Yeah,
business.
business, baby.
It's a business.
So here's
you
how
ain't
much
too
I'm going
far
to pay.
gone to see that.
I understand. Here's what I'm paying for wideouts. Here's what I'm paying for safeties. And somebody's going to take my check, and I'm going to win more than I'm going to lose. I really am, and that's going to keep us in business. So,
Sure enough is.
So with that, fans, when we get back on the Odd Coaches podcast in segment 2, we're going to ask the question: should the NFL guarantee these quarterback contracts like the NBA and Major League Baseball does? We'll see what my partner says. We'll be right back on the Odd Coaches podcast.
The high school and college academic and athletic landscape is changing. The growing number of college transfers, as well as student athletes being able to profit off the use of their name, image, and likeness, has given student athletes the freedom and power to make life-changing decisions. That is why it is important for student athletes to be properly informed throughout the decision-making process. The difference between success and failure is often measured not by yards, but by inches, and even the most successful coaches and players use outside independent consultants to help improve their decision-making, which improves their results. That is what the CKA Save Project would like to do for student athletes across the country, improve their academic and athletic results. Our academic and athletic consulting services assist student athletes with the college decision-making process. The CKA team of former high school and college coaches can provide student athletes an independent assessment of their academic and athletic skills to assist student athletes in their college decision-making process. Let the CKA team evaluate your academic and athletic ability to assist you in finding the right fit for your academic and athletic career. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free virtual consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches podcast. And in segment 2, I got out of conversation because it keeps coming up. Should the NFL guarantee quarterback contracts? Because nobody's guaranteeing a running back contract, so don't even ask. Nobody's doing it for a wideout. Nobody's doing it for anybody else. So it's just the quarterback. You know that, and I know that. So here's the NFL's worry about guaranteed contracts. Minnesota Vikings quarterback and my personal favorite, Kirk Cousins, signed a fully guaranteed contract of 3 years, $84 million when he hit free agency in 2018, fans. Cleveland Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson signed a 5-year, and every time I read it, Mike, I'm like, what is he doing? $230 million contract that was fully guaranteed. No one bid it against you. There was no one else that was going to offer that. What are you doing? Okay. The NFL doesn't hand out fully guaranteed contracts with regularity. This practice allows teams to cut players whenever they want to for minimum, for pennies on the dollar. Okay. And that's why the joke is, and it's not a joke, the NFL stands for not for long. Okay.
Not for long.
So the Cousins and Watson deals, kind of give people a false sense of these guaranteed contracts. So, Mike, here's what the owners think. Okay, the owners. At the NFL owners meeting a year ago, Baltimore Ravens owner, and he hasn't been very good recently, Steve Bisciotti blasted the Browns with their Watson deal, as I would have too. What are you doing? And I would have said, what are you doing? And then Bisciotti said, and I quote, it's like, damn, I wish they hadn't guaranteed the whole thing. I don't know that he should have been the first guy to get a fully guaranteed contract. To me, that's something that should be groundbreaking. Okay. So Major League Baseball, the NFL, and the NHL, they all provide guaranteed contracts. That's the norm. The Colts owner, Jim Irsay, however, said, and he needs a quarterback. He said, and I quote, as an owner, I don't believe in fully guaranteed contracts. Now you got two owners saying out loud what we have thought for years. Ursay said, I think the percentage is one thing, but from what I've seen from the NBA and baseball, I don't see it as positive competitive. For me, for the good of the game, I don't believe guaranteed contracts will be good for our game at all. So now let's talk about Lamar. And now the Lamar Jackson situation is unique because there are some both legitimate and bogus arguments. Okay. So when teams talk about health concerns, as my partner says, that's bogus. Okay. I don't want to hear it's the NF freaking L. You're going to get hit every play except a scoring play, and sometimes they do, into the collision.
Every quarterback get hurt. Name one quarterback that hasn't got hurt.
And then they talk about scheme and reliance on the run.
In the pocket, out the pocket.
Because the only time he got hurt was when he's in the pocket and not out of the pocket. Right. So there goes that argument. That's trash. Okay. We're not lying to you. We're not noisy. You know, but don't lie to me.
Yeah.
Now, building around expensive quarterbacks is harder. That's a legit argument because there's a cap. Okay. And then plenty of teams aren't looking for a quarterback. Well, there are plenty of bad teams out there, and they probably should be looking for quarterbacks, but I'm good. Okay. All right. And then finally, before I let my partner chime in, Joe Burrow, on the other hand, that dude who has an agent, has publicly stated, I'm just saying, Joe Burrow and the Bengals have mutually agreed to keep their contract talks close to the vest. Stay off Twitter, man. Stay off Twitter. The Bengals and Burrow's reps have agreed of a vow of silence as the two work towards a long-term deal. And you won't be hearing any leaks, anything with that. So, Mike, I've given you the data on both sides. You're the football guy. Should the NFL guarantee these quarterback contracts?
Yeah, I think so. I think they should guarantee more than just quarterback contracts. I think the biggest issue with the NFL now is because they don't guarantee contracts. People don't really understand. Now, the data I have may be from 2013, 2014, actually, when my son was there, but the data says that what people don't really realize that owners make these deals expecting to never pay them, because if you're a first round draft pick, only 77% of your contract is guaranteed. That people don't know. So first of all, if only 77% of it is guaranteed, but you paying 51 in luxury tax, how much money are you really making? And then, everybody talk about how they're broke within 5 years. Well, if I'm making $300 million, but I'm only going to get 150, I'm only going to get 150 after taxes, and then only 77% of that is guaranteed. You said I might make 70, 80 million.
So
you see what I'm saying?
I gotta ask you this though, Mike, because this is collectively bargained. And there's no way that the Major League Baseball Union would agree to the stuff that the NFL gets away with.
At all.
We're going to talk tomorrow about the CBA for the NBA and how quickly the Bama's folded. We'll tease that for tomorrow. Now, I don't know anything about hockey, nor do I care. And good luck to you and Godspeed and be healthy and OV and all of that. But if you really care,
that's the thing.
You would dig in. So here's how union contracts and negotiation usually works. The old heads are fighting for old head stuff, and the young heads are happy to get the check. And in the NFL, hey, pin me, pay me. Okay? So right there, we got a problem. And nobody's going on strike these days. Not with that bag. So we're going to be stuck having this conversation. So as somebody who wants money, if I could get away with paying you, here's a little bit off the top. Here's your signing bonus. And now your regular contract's $1 million or whatever, because that's how they usually get over.
That's how they were doing it in the past. I know that's how Jerry Jones was doing it for sure, man. As Jerry Jones was they break you off right up front. I need it now. And you get that thing within like 90 days. And then after that, like you might be like Michael Jordan was playing on 1-year deals for 30-something million, so it wouldn't count continuously against the cap. Like some of the greatest knew how to do it, and I think that if I give you a $50 million, but 30 of it guaranteed up front and a signing bonus, then I'm only paying you $4 million a year for the next 5 years. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like that.
Yeah. Because
Smartest
those
way to do
NBA contracts, there's some albatrosses out there that I'm like, who booked this? As we like to
Right.
All right. Well, fans, when we get back, we're going to see if my partner's impressed with some of these new moves from both individuals, teams, and organizations. We'll be right back on the Odd Coaches Podcast.
The CKA SAVE Project is an industry leader in advocating for student-athlete, academic, and athletic needs. Through academic and athletic enrichment, the CKA SAVE Project is on the forefront of the issues facing 21st century student-athletes. As student-athletes continue to struggle to find a better balance between academic and athletic success, the CKA SAVE Project offers academic and athletic services to support student-athlete academic success, including academic skills assessment, academic and athletic consulting, academic monitoring, academic and athletic workshops. For more information or to schedule a free consultation, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast in segment 3. Man, I just want to know if my partner's impressed with some of the things that have happened over the last week in the NFL. Mike, I want to talk about Anthony Richardson. I do, man. They said he put on a show at the Combine, and then for his pro day in Florida, he was slinging that thing around. He overthrew a receiver who was 70 yards away on a deep ball pass. How impressive is that?
Very impressive. I think that he flew. I think because of the lack of team success, he flew under the radar a little bit. But I always liked him. I liked his presence. Like, he stood tall in the pocket, right?
It's easy to do that at 6'4".
Always, yeah. But he did, and it's like some guys getting there and their feet start moving. I mean, the dude was in there. You could see he was always looking downfield, always looking to make the right play. I thought he read defenses pretty good. I don't know if they're running a pro style offense. I really haven't dove into it that much, but to me, he was one of the top quarterbacks in college football last year. So, I similar to my guy who got hurt from Ole Miss last year, but he's better. And I think he was drafted. What was he drafted last year? First round, right?
Hendon Hooker? No, he's in now.
Ole Miss. Not
Matt Corral. He was drafted
last year.
3rd round.
Okay,
Carolina, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, this guy's much better than Matt Corral, in my opinion.
All right.
I see him as one of the top. I see him one of the top 10 to 15 picks in this year. If you're looking for a quarterback.
Here's who was in the house. Frank Wright was in the house from Carolina. Pete Carroll was in the house. And Pete Carroll could afford it as a quarterback based on what they're paying. And Jacksonville's Doug Peterson was in attendance.
Yeah.
Because somebody's deal's about to come up, but I'm not saying that.
Oh, my God, man.
So, okay. Richardson met individually with Las Vegas and Carolina on Wednesday of last week, and he has several more interviews lined up. But his numbers as a starter, he only completed 53.8% of his passes, threw for a little over 2,500 yards, 17 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and he ran for 654 yards with 9 scores. So, all right, keep an eye on him.
Poor Gino.
All right. Are you impressed with Brian Daboll? So Brian Daboll, head coach of the New York Giants. What's up, Mike King? Had an unexpected postseason appearance. Okay. And you know how New Yorkers are. And it's a New York minute. Yeah. So he's a rock star now. Despite low expectations, they went 9-7-1, made the playoffs for the first time since 2016, upset the Vikings in the wild card round, and next year they're going to have a harder schedule. So is this guy going to be a one-hit wonder and they're going to run him off, or are you impressed enough that he can make an extended run here?
It's all on the players. If they can sign everybody back and do some good things in the draft, they shouldn't drop. But
They just gave Daniel Jones 40.
yeah, coaches rely on owners who write the checks and players. Coaches are the middleman. The owners write the check and the players unite the team together. So he's caught in the middle. If he can make all that work together, then I could see them winning. I mean, they had at least two other games they should have won. Like, if I'm correct, they lost the one in London that they shouldn't have lost.
I don't know if I bet on the 9 a.m. game from London.
I think they lost one in London late, and I think it was. I know at least two games it was very close that they could have won. So 11 wins is not out of the question for them, especially if, I mean, you say their schedule going to be harder, but little Daniel Jones, the owners shown confidence in him by giving him the $40 million. It's New York. They re-signed Saquon?
They will. They will.
All right, then.
I think Daniel Jones is going to do some Daniel Jones things, but okay, no problem. There was a reason why he wasn't signed now.
The reason why you're available, right?
All right. So the next thing I want to see if you're impressed with is new turf at MetLife Stadium. So we had conversations as people were getting injured. So there's a new playing surface being installed. While not grass, the new surface is believed to be an improved synthetic turf that should decrease the number of injuries that occurred at the home of both the New York Giants and the New York Jets. The two New York teams will now play on an updated version of field turf. I actually know these things as former athletic director, so I'm like, oh man, field turf. And those meetings with turf people are fascinating. Not that anyone cares about those. Okay. So
where they say that at?
they say so. Kentucky bluegrass, but because they're in the Northeast, you can't have a natural grass surface. The weather is just crazy.
Yeah, true.
And you have other teams now mad at you, like the Baltimore Ravens were unhappy after Kyle Fuller tore his ACL week 1 at MetLife Stadium against the Jets. So. Is this a good thing? Are you impressed that they're like, okay, we're going to actually do something about the field conditions at MetLife Stadium since two teams play NFL games there?
Yeah, well, AJ was there for a short period of time. That's where I got to see Baker Mayfield's first debut. It was his first preseason game. The turf looked bad then. I mean, it looked like weathered. And it was fucking first game, excuse my French. It was the first game of the preseason, and the turf looked bad. And the injuries kept piling up. The only thing worse than that, I think, was the turf in Philly when they had turf. You remember everybody's getting
Veterans Stadium.
Yeah, that was bad. That was bad. So hopefully with technology and the way things are going right now, there's no way they should have a bad turf. Yeah, you got a billionaire owner and you got bad turf, like that don't make sense to me. Like again, that's a cheap way out. Maybe he thought to save money there.
Now I wouldn't do that for field stuff. Now salaries, yes, but
you got to protect the commodity, right?
Yes,
but we're
not going to be Arizona and have people taking food home in baggies or something.
Green Bay.
I don't know what they're doing up there.
Green Bay been doing that forever, man. Because they had no. I mean, they had to fly chefs in and fly barbers in because they don't got none of that in the city for the players. They don't represent. So,
all right, finally, fans, my partner impressed with this. Rumor has it that the NFL is looking to create an international division. So, if the NFL is considering expansion and adding more franchises, the league is going to look outside the U.S., according to reports. An anonymous owner said the league doesn't know if the international division will start within 2 or 5 years, not providing a timetable. But every year we got games in London. So we got 3 games in London this year, 2 games in Germany. They have 5 international games last season with 3 in London, 1 in Germany, and 1 in Mexico. An expansion of 2 or more teams would be the first in league history. What do you think about that, Mike? The NFL goes from 32 to 36 teams with international teams. You can have 2 teams in London. I mean, in England, you can have a team in Germany. All you need is 4. So you got London, you got England, Germany, maybe Spain or France, and have the bye week before and the bye week after. So what do you think?
No. Why?
Oh, so you don't have to. We mean why?
I mean, why would you do? I mean, don't mess up the game by going international. Now you're going to talk about travel. So now what are you going to do? Schedule everybody after their bye week so they get a week off to get extra travel to go? Like,
so if you had an international division, they could play each other. So that's half the season.
But
and then you already have the international games.
Teams. That's 4 teams. That's 4 teams.
Yeah.
Where are you going to put 4 teams? First of all, I ain't going to Mexico. You see what they doing to normal people now. You're going to send millionaires. You're going to spend $60 million.
I think it was for Europe. And again, these are all reports. I'm not traveling to Mexico.
60 millionaires to Mexico right now. They robbing people getting BBLs and people going down there for vacation. You think they ain't going to rob them a millionaire? Huh?
Okay.
The Sinaloa cartel and all them all over there.
So,
good God Almighty.
So on behalf of my tag team partner, because I'm not making nobody mad, my name is Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and watching the Odd Coaches podcast. And we will see you on the sidelines, but not in Mexico. Until next time, take care. Okay.
The Odd Coaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach FRANCHIZE. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches podcast.